Welcome to Razeb Africa, the heartbeat of the continent in one show.
Also being joined right now by our own Simbiat Hamzat. Simbiat, good to have you join us.
Welcome.
And if I had caught that finger on air, you would have really not liked yourself this morning. But the Razeb Africa crew is right here, and today we'll be discussing something very important: the recent Plateau State communal clashes and what media can do, and how best can we address this than having media practitioners right here in the studio. So recent events in Plateau State have once again brought Nigeria's long-standing communal tensions into sharp notice following the deadly attack in Jos North, where gunmen reportedly killed over 20 residents in a single attack. Assault prompting government-imposed curfew to contain this violence. The latest tragedy is not an isolated incident. We've had several recorded in the past couple of years, actually, and we do not see, often driven by a complex mix of land dispute, farmer-herder conflict, ethnic and religious tensions, and increasing criminal banditry. This is a narrative that we have to be very careful about propagating here as media practitioners. I had a call from someone, a very concerned person really, who said he is most concerned about the phrasing that media people have been using when it comes to what just happened. We recorded one 2 days ago from Kaduna State, and there is one which is once again rousing that level of attention too from Plateau State. Now, as media persons, we are in that very dicey place. You see what's going on. Emotionally, you may want to blot out and use certain words, but you also want to follow the institutional report by the military or law enforcement. When law enforcement tags this as a herder conflict, and you have conversations with residents who tell you, no, this is religious, how do you expect we should subsequently report this?
Okay, so Joy, thank you very much and welcome. Let me be very straight. I think I am one person who is very careful with reporting these clashes, reporting these deadly attacks. It is because I try everything possible to interface with these people. Okay, so it will interest you to know, Joy, that some 3 weeks ago, I had to go to one of the largest IDP camps in Abuja, Wassa, to be precise. And on getting there, I realized that camp houses about 7,786 persons. Figures correct? Because of course I had to talk to, and about 1,200 plus households. So now, during the findings, which I know in the course of this discussion I'll talk about a whole lot of other things, I had to talk to one person who was more like a leader in the camp, and he said that majority of persons in that camp are from Borno and then Plateau States. So it is a major concern. And then I now asked, what exactly is the problem you're having in your state that has actually forced you out of your state down to the IDP camp to stay? And you would hear him say very sternly, now this is not a Christian talking. This is a Muslim. So it is not a Christian attack. It's not,
so it's not a religious attack.
It's not a religious fight. This is, you will realize him saying that these are bandits attacking dwellers, residents, owners of a place.
To steal their land or to take over their farms.
Exactly. So they take people with them, they kill, they destroy, and then they walk away.
Right. But what then is the motivation? I cannot help myself because for a sane person, I struggle with understanding the motive behind it. I've heard several from.
They could be sponsored. They could be sponsored.
To what end? Is it political? Is it? I struggle to understand because we were out here. The government was quick to denounce that statement of a genocide when it was when the United States president
targeted Christian genocide.
There was a Christian genocide. The symbolism of this particular Plateau State attack to Palm Sunday. Is there a symbolism at all? Is it one of those
religious attacks
that just coincided with that symbolic day, or there is more to this? You know, when you have conversations with security experts and they tell you how, listen, this is always, there's always something to it. Whoever is trying to perpetrate this is trying to really get attention of whether it's government or whether it's to instill fear and all of that. What is the intent if we sit here and in all honesty say it is not religious? And it is. There's also some school of thought that believe it's a bit to grab land, is to wipe out an entire community and grab land. Is it ethnic, where people think, oh, Fulani people want to come and take over? What is the problem? And unfortunately, this is not just happening in Nigeria. It's happening in pockets of Africa where communities are ravished with little or no presence of government security architecture.
So, Joy, I'd love to start with some sort of exegesis that someone did on Sunday, just a few days ago. A person said, it looks as though gradually we are beginning to see Nigeria turn to an Islamic state. Okay, so his concern was that maybe sometime 10 years from now, we will not be talking about Christianity in Nigeria anymore. And I tend to try to say out of the debunk, keeping hope alive.
No, but that's absolutely false. What are the indices to prove that
you're
wiping out the entire population of Christians?
Okay.
If anything, if you follow the population trend, Christianity is growing more than Islam is.
Definitely.
So that's right there is what my father would say, Balderdash.
Yeah, so in the course of that discussion, I try to see how to make it very clear that, look, it looks as though it is not religious, but again, it could be a way to actually call for themselves what they probably need. Okay, so again, in discussion with another person, of course, the kind of work we do. So we have to go in there to try to see how to comb the area, get information from people. And then someone said that there are times these people plan to come. Okay, I spoke with him and he said, there are times they plan to come and attack, and what they are coming to attack and get is basically foodstuff. So they just come, they don't touch humans. All they need,
they just take foodstuffs
they comb the area, come into houses, take foodstuff and leave. There are times they come back and they don't want to take anything. They just want to get to the fuel station, buy petrol, and go. And then there are times they come and they want to destroy and kill. And that is what they come for. So it is very difficult to be able to tell exactly
what is determining their visit at what time.
Exactly.
See that, you also help us in reports here on RAZEB Africa. So my question to you is, how do you phrase, as media practitioners, it's not in our business. In fact, it is statutorily our duty to ensure that we do not start chaos, we do not incite, we do not coin fact in such a way that people are agitated and exacerbate conflict. How are you able to report on these issues and not get emotional with your part of the country, the religion that you practice, it could be anything, your political inclinations and all of that. How as a journalist are you able to do
so? I think basically I'm just like going to hear from the people and listen to eyewitnesses, and because they'll be the ones to be able to give the exact, they are the one that witnessed it. Sometimes, journalists even gets there minutes or even hours later than when the incident has happened. So they'll be the ones to give real-time account of the events that has happened. And it is because, everybody's angry in this nation, or in this continent rather. Everybody's angry about one thing or the other. So if you listen to 10 people, they could have 10 different accounts of what they experienced. And then it is difficult to now pick one and run with it. So as journalists, it is expected that we come back to the table and then we are able to sieve out facts from just hearsays, because sometimes these eyewitness accounts, they have been padded just to make it seem like it is extreme, which sometimes is the case and sometimes it's not also the case. But as journalists, when we're able to sieve out the facts and we're able to determine which is factual and which cannot fly. So I think that's a way to go about it.
Absolutely. And one very concerning problem that we journalists face, especially in the field, is the conversation or the synergy between law enforcement and journalists. That's something that, as president of the Female Journalists Network, I've tried to have opportunities where law enforcement do not see journalists and the media practitioners as hostile towards their work, but just understand that your work begins where the other person's work stops. But how can the journalist also understand what their role is? Because most of the problem in conflict situations and crisis situations is that the journalist wants to report fact, wants to take pictures and video to report exactly what happened. The law enforcement wants to preserve forensic so that you do not contaminate the crime scene or conflict scene and all of that. And then there is that clash of you move away.
There's also the part of the government where maybe they want to at least save the face of the country and say that, we don't have to report this to the global media, and then we have to curb some of these facts. So there's also that fact of but
I also understand that as well. I mean, if I were a government, I would not want the gory details to be announced.
But you're forgetting the social media factor, because regardless of what the government or the law enforcement is trying to the social media is just going to put everything out. Everybody is a journalist on social media. So even if you are trying to stop a video from going out, there's somebody out there that just maybe did the video within the corner of his own room and he has already posted it and it has already gone viral. So that case cannot even be controlled. There's no control in that aspect. So whatever we are trying to shield as journalists is 90% already out there.
But there's a reason why we must shield. There's a reason why we must shield. First of all, we do not want to cause chaos. We do not want to exacerbate issues. And so even in your wordings, and that is what concerns me about the social media, in your wordings, you're not causing or instilling fear on people. You also want them to, you want a society that is encouraged, right? Secondly, there are gory videos that are often put on air in your face that photosensitive people, I mean, we take it for granted a lot. Our mental health must at all times be taken into consideration. Very often you just open your Facebook or WhatsApp and you see very gory details, and it's quite concerning that these social media practitioners should also learn discretion. So I also understand the need that
people are not learning discretion on social media, especially because of this monetization issue. Everybody wants to be the first to break a bad news just because of they would be paid by these social media creators. So they are not. Nobody's looking at. Okay.
The other part of it I have issues with, and it could be a concern, not really an issue.
Yeah.
Is the aspect where Joy has mentioned, you have also talked about it, the government, coming in and then trying to see how to shield. Mm-hmm. So we're having economic crisis, and the government goes ahead, to talk about it, and even go as far as borrowing, from the World Bank, from other countries, and then we have some travels made by government, heads, governors, presidents, where they go to other countries to sign memorandum of understanding. And I know that when they go, they tell the issue they are having. They tell it openly. Okay, so we are having issues as it has to do with agriculture.
I don't think that applies.
Okay.
I don't think that applies because economic policies of government can be criticized inside out without fear.
So why can't we have security issues and crises being criticized and talked about and then maybe fought to stand still?
Okay, so let me tell you the danger issues. There was such a time that my mom was supposed to visit Abuja, but some reports that she stumbled on Facebook say Abuja was in so much crisis, they were bombing everywhere and all of that. Now my mom had business to do here. She cancelled her flight, but that was not the case. I was right here in Abuja. One single post and one happening just changed her.
But the question is,
now this happening had nothing to do with the city center. It didn't happen in the city center.
Okay, but it happens
if I was not a journalist, I probably would not have known what happened. But because my nose is in the news all the time, I stumbled on that story as well. So nothing I said to my mom changed her mind about visiting Abuja. She cancelled her flight and was like, you know what, indefinitely until this is sorted out. My mom was all about how I can, pack myself back from Abuja. And I'm like, it is not a war zone. So that is one of the dangers of irresponsible reporting.
Yeah, I'm not talking about reporting it irresponsibly, but I'm saying that we could actually have these things said and fought to a standstill in the aspect of trying to see how to hold it headlong. Take for instance, let's go back to Plateau State. Okay, so we have had a whole lot of deadly issues in recent times, and as we speak, there is, I don't know if you've seen the controversies of how many persons have died in the course of the issue.
Yeah, 40, 23, 30.
So I'm very sure that government in one way or the other actually knows the number of persons that have passed in the course of that clash. And the big question would be, would government not rather tell the people that 40 have passed so that we can know that we are actually out to fight this to a standstill, rather than saying 19 have passed, meanwhile they know it's 40, and then they will now say we are still on the check to know if others have. You already know. So my concern is very simple. I think it is high time government would, wake up to her responsibility and do this headlong. In as much as journalists are also trying to see how to, let me call it media generally. Media is trying to see how to help this situation, talk about it. The security agencies are also trying their best to do it. I think government also have a very great task to carry out as far as this sort of issue is concerned. Let me give you a little bit of, should I say, let me go back a bit, a little bit of story. I was in Plateau State some years back to serve, and while in camp, we're kept in camp extra 16 days. Now, why was that? Because there were some sort of clashes in some communities that were supposed to pass out from Mango down to Jos and to other places we were supposed to be sent to for our how do you call it, PPA?
Yes.
The place of primary assignment. So in the course of staying in camp for 16 extra days, we passed through a whole lot in camp because no activity was on. We just had to stay back in camp. Now let me tell you what happened. Later on, we were told that there is a military barrack somewhere in Jos South, and so all corps members who would want a place of primary assignment had to start scouting for Jos South, because we're told that Jos North is safe, but this is happening in Jos North. The happenings that we are talking about presently is happening in Jos North. And then we're told that Jos South is good, is safe. But some few months ago, we heard that something happened, or some clashes happened somewhere close to the barrack, and nothing was done. And now there are other places in Plateau State that are actually facing a whole lot of this crisis. Now we have the governor of the state, we have the president of the country. What are they doing exactly to curb this? And we are saying, let's not really talk about it. Let's see how to conceal so that people And tomorrow,
I don't. Maybe you're getting it wrong.
Okay.
I am not a proponent for concealing facts.
Okay.
I'm just saying be responsible in
Okay.
your
I'm trying
utterances.
to.
You know, there are terms that are often used that exacerbate issues. You have not said the wrong thing, but you just use terms and I see a lot of journalists be so careless that it's done in that way. I often say I love Africa, I love Nigeria, and I do not want Nigeria to become a security volatile nation. If there is such a thing I can do to temper tensions, I will do, and that is the role of journalists. Unfortunately, we are in that state where the onus is on us as media practitioners to be careful what we give out there. While giving facts, be responsible in it. Do not use certain terms that exacerbate issues.
Or terms that would even cause like ethnic profiling or maybe religious blaming, like we have now in Nigeria. There are some times that when this happens, you just automatically think all Norths, or you just think Muslims, or you just think it's one particular sector of the country. We also have
reports where something happens and the phrasing by journalists is Christian man dies after this.
Now it even seems like it's a competition. Because if
in Africa, would you have had a need to say it's a Christian man or Muslim?
That's what I'm saying. That now feels like a competition. People, even in terms of the Yoruba, you hear Yoruba Muslims, you hear Yoruba Christians, and then we now start having this kind of ethnic profiling. You're trying to mark yourself, say, oh, I'm not part of them. I'm a Muslim, I'm Yoruba, but I am not a Muslim Yoruba. You know, it just makes the entire country just divided, because if you cannot stand in unity as one country or one nation, how are we now going to fight whatever it is that is coming after us? So I think it's something that we need to reconsider as journalists. We should be very careful of the kind of terms or the kind of words we use in phrasing our headlines, and even putting it on the blogs.
Okay, so I think it's time to go for a short break. When we return from that break, it will get into regulatory bodies and how we should have more trainings for journalists, how important it is to have this community dialogue and that synergy between law enforcement and media practitioners. We'll be back after the short break. Africa.
Welcome to Razeb Africa, the heartbeat of the continent in one show. Here, we celebrate Africa not as a headline, but as a home full of voices that are shaping the next chapter of our story. Let your spirit rise. We don't just tell Africa's story, we own it. Join Joy Asonye on Razeb Africa, Monday to Friday at 11 a.m. to 12 noon on Global Television.
Welcome back from that nation break. We're still discussing community clashes, communal clashes across Africa and the role of media. And I have right here in the studio Unyime Anyete and Amzat Simbiat. I apologize, Anyete Unyime. Right here, we've been discussing the role of media in ensuring proper reporting of conflict situations, how not to exacerbate what's going on and causing chaos within our communities, while also reporting facts. We've also got to the conversation to these unregulated platforms that we call social media. Everyone is a journalist. Everyone is a journalist at the moment. But like I was saying, how can we get that proper synergy between law enforcement, very important, with media practitioners? Maybe we should also have an association of everyone that's on social media, so that proper channels of communication is established.
Do you think that's possible?
Of course it's possible.
To have everyone on social media. I don't think that is possible. I believe maybe the key influencers or the key...
that's why I wanted to come in. Maybe doing key persons whom we know, when they drop...
They have the platform.
It actually goes viral. They could be called in. Let me give a little example of what we're actually talking about today. Some days ago I saw a message pop out on my phone, and the message that popped said that the Nigerian Police Force at Akwa Ibom State will be having a jogging exercise, and then they're inviting journalists to join them. after which they will have a round table to discuss. And for me, it felt well. It went well with me because I felt like at that point there could be an understanding between these two bodies, the journalists and the Nigerian Police Force at Akwa Ibom State, where they'll talk and say, okay, fine, if something like this comes up and the journalist probably finds it out, they'll call the police to come. And if police find out, they'll call the journalists to come. So there could be an understanding. I see this outside the continent of Africa, in some other climes in the Western world, where you see, even in some war zones, you see someone, following up with a security personnel, and then you see all this press, and you're like, how did this happen? It's supposed to happen here too, where the security agency will be able to cover the press, to be able to do their work so that they can report well and timely. And that could go a long way to help us with the whole
the problem is the medley that government has in reports back here in the country, in the continent. I have also criticized Nigerian government, and it's not just these administrations, successive administrations, to say if you put that much power, that much energy and effort in ensuring that you do the right thing, instead of attacking those who report the wrong thing you're doing, Nigeria will be better. But we often see this over and over, where it seems like you would rather do the wrong thing and attack those who report the wrong thing you are doing than, the effort is so crazy. Everyone is putting so much effort into, oh yeah, you're wrong for saying that. You should be punished for saying that. EFCC would invite you. NBC would find your station. We've seen that a lot.
Yes.
So, and I think that is the reason why we're not seeing that synergy between law enforcement, because if a journalist is out there and reports premium time what's going on, and you see, like we have heard from even the military men, the boots on in the field, telling you that very often you see more sophisticated weapons against them than they have. I think it would have a change, but I don't think we're intentional about change that will be sustainable enough to fight this. Again, as journalists, we go through these stories, whether we want to admit it or not. It affects the way we think, it affects our decisions, the decisions that we make. But I will start with Cynthia right here. Do you honestly think that Nigeria is overwhelmed by insurgency? Do you think we do not have what it takes to win this war? Do you think we lack the sophisticated intelligence gathering mechanisms and tools, or we do not even know the policy, the comeback direction for the peculiarity of the kind of attacks that we keep recording? For a country like ours that is in one breath talking about attracting foreign direct investment, and in another breath talking about facing this is the global image that we are sending out there, where unfortunately we are seen as a security volatile nation. However, there's so much more to do. So I think I'll start with you. What do you think is going on? Are we honestly overwhelmed?
From my own personal point of view, I would say that I think we're overwhelmed. But do we have the capacity or the capabilities to tackle this issue? Yes. Do we have the intelligence? We have the manpower, or even the technicalities? Yes, we do have them. But I think it has to do with, it has to do more of the government's interference, because sometimes you listen to this our armed forces, and they'll say they can't shoot without an instruction from the higher body, they can't do this without an instruction from the higher bodies. But when you now see these terrorists or bandits, they attack freely without even any they don't need to have any instruction, but you hear our soldiers say that, they need an instruction for them to shoot. Somebody is coming with war, and then you still have to wait for an instruction, when the person, before you even wait for that instruction, the person has already done what he wants to do.
I do not believe that's always the case.
Well, that's not always the case, but I seen, and
I also know that the military has coordinated offense against criminals and bandits and terrorists and all of that, where you cannot just get up and tell your mates, you know what, let's go. It has to be coordinated. It has to be one that comes from higher direction and well strategic direction, really. So I understand what you mean. Crime is peculiar, it's dynamic. So you're not everywhere. So while the criminals are planning something, you just have to be ready at all times.
Let me just chip in. I think I want to differ a little bit from her response. You know, if we are overwhelmed, I wouldn't want to say we are. Maybe we would say that a particular area or a particular region in Nigeria is overwhelmed.
What region is championing security crisis and not?
Okay, so
I come from the South. I come from the South where we do not have as many reports of attacks.
I also come from the western side, but I know that. But this is even fueling the anger or the fear in me that if this is happening in the north, or how many do we have to wait for it to get to me, for it to get to the west as well?
We are overwhelmed per se by insecurity. Okay, my own aspects, my own thought, my own opinion would be that a particular region in Nigeria has been overwhelmed because we do not have enough security personnel to be able to combat the insecurities in those regions.
But we do have enough. We do have security personnel.
We have, but not enough. So we
have personnel. Maybe we do not have the technicalities like the sophisticated weapons and the likes. But personnel, we have.
We have personnel. I think statistics have actually shown that we have about 400 citizens to 1 security personnel.
Wow.
Yeah, just recent statistics. So it's not enough. So just imagine that 400 of us are supposed to be standing behind just one.
So is this a call to Nigerian youth to join the security forces so that we have enough?
But I think
of course, Nigeria.
It is actually a call.
So I just did a quick Wikipedia check. According to Wikipedia, the operational head of the defense, we have just a bit more than 230,000 active personnel in the Nigerian military.
230,000.
Yes.
And how many are we in Nigeria as a whole?
Over
200 million.
Wow.
So you will agree with me that we do not have what it takes, or they do not have, the personnel do not have what it takes enough to be able to cover. So if out of 230,000, right, let's imagine that about maybe 100,000 are in other regions, and then only 130,000 are now in the northern region. It's not enough to be able to combat crime. So I'm of the opinion that we rather would look for a means to see how to recruit more, and then give them the other part of it now, the sophisticated weapons to be able to stand out and secure our country, and then these regions that are well attacked. Because someone suggested, I wouldn't want to just say it on air, but the suggestion was too rude, saying that maybe it is time for us to, the House should pass that all Nigerians should be weaponized. And I was concerned. I said, no, if all Nigerians are weaponized, then that means maybe in a way we would say let the security agencies now rest to protect ourselves. But in the real sense of it, to be very sincere, it looks as though we are protecting ourselves.
You just reminded me of a country, a state in America where gun laws, there are no stringent gun laws,
yes,
and it gives an opportunity for everyone to handle their weapons. And they talked about how limited crime is in that place. However, this is a country that needs to first of all evaluate us mentally. I know a lot of people who are trigger happy just because. These are people who are given opportunities to hold guns, and I will not trust to go outside the house. Imagine how far people have to go in not just fabricating local weapons, but also shipping them. We see this all the time, where the military intercept or law enforcement intercepts cages of weapons. You understand? And see where the weapons are being directed.
And even when these weapons are actually locally manufactured, we still have security.
Yeah, I remember feeling like I cannot wait to be 36 because, and I think the Nigerian law stipulates that before you can have a license to own a gun, you must not have had criminal record, and you must be about 36. But in the final analysis, we're running out of time. My last question will be, how can we get better in the media space in reporting this and ensuring government is accountable? Quickly, I'll start with Aneti Onyeme.
I correct again. Okay, so I'm of the opinion that it is time to report facts. Okay, so as a media person, it is time to report facts. And what will help you to report facts is when you go out there to see for yourself and then try to see how to use a better language to be able to report. So for me, factual reporting.
Final analysis.
Okay, for me, I would say the role of training should not be, we cannot overemphasize the role and the importance of training because the world is evolving, the social media space is evolving as well. Journalists also know, traditional journalists should also know how to report in real time, and we should also be aware of how to use this new technologies that is coming up so that we'll be able to report real time and factual too. Yeah.
And that's it for RAZEP Africa today. My name is Jerry Saye, and I'm saying thank you for watching as we have discussed this very pertinent issue of the media role in reporting, especially the recent communal clashes and conflicts we have had in recent times. Until next time when we come your way, have a wonderful and beautiful rest of the day.